Welcome to another episode of Royal Rumble. This time, Dawi will face up against Chaos.
So welcome to another episode of Royal Rumble. This time I play with Dawi against Chaos. And yeah, most of you know that I like to play Dawi against Chaos because I think the Dawi infantry is very able to hold the line against Chaos. And yeah, so let's go to my position over here directly. I know I made actually made a other replay that was quite equal, or it's quite similar to the to a former replay or former video. So I also deployed on this side on this map, and yeah, but it's in fact another game. So if one of you guys think that it's the same game, no, in this case not. So we have Longwets in the front line, also like in the other game. Ekrut miners behind that. As I said, always front line with charge defense, because if he will bring Gorby's chariots and something like that, then you are able to defend the charge. The protection on the right side is I manage it with Dwarf Warriors with great weapon, another group, and Longwets with great weapons. So they will charge against the enemy over here, but also for if the enemy will flank my right side, they will charge against him and stuff like that. Over here we have a Rune Lord. So I think, as I said, a Rune Lord is a quite competitive way. In every Dawi build, I think you should have at least one in every build. But you don't have to bring always two models. So in this case, I think more infantry against Chaos is good. So at least one should be enough. Then I have also here Dwarf Warriors with great weapons on this side. Another group of Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. And here we have the Grumbling Guard. Very good stats overall, very cost efficient, because for 1000 credits you get a very strong and steady unit. And in my opinion, yeah, should be always, not always, but yeah, you should bring them. They perform very well. Then we have our Rune Lord over here, also on the mount, and he's quite tanky and steady. The weapon strength is quite low, but he competes very well against Koleg because he's very tanky with 120 armor and a very competitive way. And at least a group of Dragonback Slayers on the backside to defend the backside against or to protect the cannons, and maybe to join later on the front line and something like that. So let us go to the army composition of my opponent. So we have here Marauders with great weapon, as mixed with Aspiring Champions. So in fact the Marauders make some armor piercing damage, but their leadership is overall not that high. So my enemy mixed them with Aspiring Champion to buff the leadership. So these are all Chaos Marauders with great weapon. We have a Hell Cannon over here. So in fact Hell Cannons make so much damage, and a lot of them. Plus, it's in my opinion not quite competitive to bring them against Dawi, because they cannot compete against the cannons because they have a lower range or the smaller range, and the cannons can focus the Hell Cannon out before they is able to do a significant amount of damage. So yeah, take that money and invest it in some other infantry units. In my opinion, not worth it. Then we have another group, Chaos Marauders, great weapons, and yeah, here we go to his heroes and lords, and yeah, let us look what he have over here. Of course, a Chaos Lord on a Chaos Dragon. Chaos Dragon are at yeah, very rare, but I think it's Chaos Dragon is a quite competitive way against Dawi because you have a lot of mobility. You can cycle charge, you make armor piercing damage, and it's quite good. The weapon strength is quite high, and yeah, you can bring off Chaos Dragon against Dawi it's very great. Then we have a Chaos Sorcerer of Death. I would bring metal at least if I would bring a sorcerer against Dawi. And then an Exalted Hero. Also not the best pick because the Exalted Hero is not causing armor piercing damage or a significant amount of that. So I wouldn't bring them against Dawi at all. Take that money and invest it in some infantry. Or in Gobi's chariots at least. Then we have a group of Curse Marauders, also with Quack Weapon, and another one with Quack Weapon. So overall, it's not a very competitive pick of my opponent. Competitive build. It's okay, but the infantry is quite weak. The amount or the quantity of units is very high. But it's very important to compete against Dawi with very high tier infantry units. So this is low tier, and of course you have a lot of units, but against the heavy armored infantry of Dawi you bring some more tanky or some more high quality infantry units. But it was a lot. This game was a lot of fun, and I think it's also nice to see a Chaos Dragon, and it was a lot of fun. So let's start over here. So you can see my cannons are, of course, almost shooting on the hell cannon, and you can see how much damage this hell cannon already took. And you can see the hell cannon, I think, made no damage still, and yeah. So as I said, you can focus the hell cannon out easily. Never bring them against Dawi. It's because if the Dawi player has, at least when the Dawi player has no cannons, that is quite good. But if you speculate on that, I wouldn't bring that. So he positioned in the backline over here. Oh, this was a quite good hit. And now he's charging in, makes some harass damage. But also over here, I wouldn't charge in at the same point with all 3 units. You see that it makes nearly no damage. I would charge in with 1 Manticore over here, 1 here, and Chaos Lord over here maybe. So it's very complicated then for me to protect this or to clean it up. So if you have 3 flying units, very tanky flying units, not charge in one on the same point. Split them a little bit. So we have a charge in over here. No flanking over here at the moment. So the stack, the hell cannon is offline, and not a problem anymore. Quite a little bit cinematic shots over here, and yeah, the Acro Miners blast out the front line, and it took so much damage to the infantry. So at least a very good tactic is to, if you have a Colic or a Dragon Ogre Shaggy, put him in the front line if the enemy has no Thunderers. Yeah. So put him in the front line and let them, Acro Miners will throw the blasting charges on them, because they will not get hit that much and the infantry is fine after that. But as I said, only if the Dawi player has no Thunderers. So I'm now starting to shoot on the Manticores. and they are charge in over here on this right flank. At least to crush it, I think. That his troops can go through this the right side. And my acro miner still throwing the blasting charges on the front line over here. And charge in to save this front over here. It's very important also, as I said in former videos, to protect your cannons. They should be always online and always shooting on the great on big enemies and monsters and stuff like that. And yeah, still a very healthy unit of Grumbling Guard over here. I think I waited to not sandwich it completely on this side, but I think it works quite well. And as you can see, the Marauders with Quake Weapon has no chance at all to compete against high tier Dawi infantry like Longbeards and Grumbling Guard and stuff like that. But you can see over here my Rune Lord takes so much damage from this combination of the Chaos Lord on the Chaos Dragon, the Manticores, and they damaged him very, very heavy. But also his exalted hero is now surrounded actually because he took so much damage. Never stay with a Dragon Manticore or something like that, or in a group of Dragonback Slayers. Now he cycle charges with his Dragon, with his Chaos Lord on the Chaos Dragon on each side to crush it, and it's a very good way to do that. So to always support your infantry with your monsters. This is the best way to handle it. Cycle charge over here to crush the enemy lines. In fact, the performance of the Chaos Marauders over here is quite good, because I think here's the quantity very high. So the most models over here. But the Dwarf Warriors are still performing quite well. Also the Longbeards over here. And yeah, we have Manticore, and with the Chaos Sorcerers still online, still fighting. Also here, very, very good performance of the Chaos Marauders, great weapons. But overall, I think, as I said, you have to bring high tier infantry, but you also can bring Chaos Marauders in addition, so they are support high tier infantry. So you can increase the infantry or your complete army composition with Chaos Marauders. So the performance is okay, but not to spam them. You can see this one is shaking. Cycle charge with his exalted hero on this side over here, but he's not able to make a significant amount of damage over here, and these units are now shattered, and that's worth it. So as I said, you can bring the Chaos Marauders with great bumps in addition to high tier infantry. You don't have to bring Chosen against Dawi. It's not necessary, and it's not good, I think. You should bring a higher amount of units, but also on a high level. So you bring Chaos Warriors with Quake Weapon mixed with Chaos Marauders. You should be fine. I would not bring at least Aspiring Champions at all against Dawi, because they make not a significant damage. You can see 17 kills, 8 kills, that is nothing. Of course, they are very in a high favor because of their leadership buff, but you can leave them out. They make no armor-piercing damage and no significant damage to the front line, and it's not necessary to bring them in this matchup. Also, Hell Cannon, never bring that against Dawi. A good Dawi player will always focus out your Hell Cannon with the cannons. No chance in that one. So also missing Gorby's Chariots, of course. Chariots very good against Dawi, and Gorby's Chariots at least the best chariot unit in the game, and should bring it. I like the mix of the Chaos Lord with the Chaos Dragon. It was a lot of fun to see that, and that's one of the reasons I showed you this match. It was a lot of fun, and I think also it's quite okay to bring a Chaos Dragon. In this case, we have a lot of mobility, as I said. Chaos Saucer, as I said, also with Floor of Metal, when you like to bring a Saucer, and Exalted Hero. Not in a competitive way, because you don't make a significant amount of armor-piercing damage. It's not very good, and it's very good for focusing out or sniping out enemy lords and heroes, but against Dawi it's not necessary to bring that. So on my side, this is an older build of mine, and yeah, in the new build I bring some also some hammerers, and hammerers are so strong and I like them very much. This 1200 credits is worth it. I would bring them all the time. And also a group of these guys over here. Let me take a look. Dawi. So a group at least of the Iron Breakers. The Iron Breakers are so strong. You can see 85 leadership, armor is 120, and here it comes. The defense is at 68. As said in a former video, I don't know even other unit that has that much high defense, melee defense. So this combination is huge. They are the strongest infantry unit in melee defense. So you can't get through it easily. You need a lot of units to break them. They're very strong. So yeah, that was it for today, or this was the game. And thank you for watching, and please let me know if you have any questions, and see you next time in the next episode of Royal Rumble.